Don't wait for the perfect moment to step into mission. Hey, I'm Pastor Matt here with your Missionary Pathway Mission Insight. And this insight actually came from a reminder in a quote I found in my daily planner. And the quote was this: if we wait for the moment when everything, absolutely everything is ready, we shall never begin. This was penned by a famous Russian author, but I think it is so important for us to hear as missionaries. In fact, it's advice that rings true through the centuries. I remember reading a book when I was first church planting, Art of the Start. One of my mentors had me read. And Guy Kawasaki wrote this book on how you start kind of anything. And one of the quotes he makes in the book that has stuck with me for a lifetime is, if we're always waiting for 3.0 before we launch, we're never going to launch. Instead, we need to launch 1.0, then 2.0, then 3.0. Guy Kawasaki's point, Ivan's point, it's all the same. The idea is, if you're waiting for something to be perfectly planned, perfectly pulled together before you step out and try, you're never going to launch out. And oftentimes we're waiting for that perfect moment for mission instead of realizing it's not about a perfect moment, but it's about just stepping in to mission. And so how can we do that? Well, number one, implement a system where you crawl, walk, and run. I love this idea of crawl, walk, and run. And the idea is simply this: start somewhere, start simple. Just start moving into mission. One of the reasons we do the missionary pathway is so that when we talk about helping people share the gospel or make disciples, we don't simply put them on a whiteboard and help them come up with the perfect disciple-making system. We encourage them to learn how to make disciples by being discipled and then having a simple process they can use to make disciples. It allows them to crawl into disciple-making and mission in the community. And then as they start doing that, they start to get better at it. And so just like a kid moves from crawling to walking, then to running, they start to pick up some steam, they start to make changes, start doing things more their own way. And then eventually disciple making just becomes a natural thing they're able to just do in the community. And it began because they started with a simple process of crawl, walk, and run. So if you want to get started with mission, start in that simple way of crawl, walk, and run. Finally, learn as you go and make adjustments. Learn as you go and make adjustments. This is really important because oftentimes what happens is we think, okay, this perfect plan has to be perfect. And so maybe we start moving in a plan that we think is perfect, but since it's perfect, it doesn't need change. And the reality is, we're constantly learning because the world is constantly changing. And so as you're going, learn from what you're doing. Make improvements and be willing to make adjustments. Because if you're just finding a place to start, then that's not the place you're necessarily going to end. Keep moving forward, keep being willing to learn, and keep being willing to make adjustments as you go. And then finally, I know I said the other one was finally, but this is the real finally. Trust that the mission is not about what you're doing for God, but it's about what God is doing through you. I think oftentimes one of the biggest things that stalls us out in mission is we're waiting for the perfect plan because we think it all rests on us. And the reality is it doesn't. It rests on the work of the Holy Spirit. And sometimes the Holy Spirit calls you in and allows you to be a part of what He's already at work doing. And so rather than hold on to the pressure, thinking that this is what you have to do for God, and so of course you want it to be perfect, realize it's not about what you're doing for God, but it's about what God is doing through you. And so start somewhere and allow God to grow you and mature you through that process as you continue to learn better and better ways to go out on mission. So if you're looking for ways to just start, I would encourage you, check out the Missionary Pathway. The Missionary Pathway is an incredible resource that you can use to learn how to make disciples, share the gospel, and even share your faith in the places you already live, work, learn, and play. It's kind of a helpful way that can help you kickstart mission. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need a willingness to start. So if this video was a help for you, I want to encourage you, click like and subscribe and share it out with somebody else that needs this. And then also, if you'd like to find more of our mission insights, check out the Kairos Network on YouTube. That's a great place to find more mission insights like this and be willing to share those out and just step out in mission.